Hey Cornerstone, Pastor Phil here. Welcome back to our class on Genesis. And I'm sure you're wondering, same shirt? Same week? You can't know. I love this shirt. I wear it all the time. And this could be 2 weeks later. You have no idea. This week we're going to talk about Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. I'm going to pause right there, because that's as far as we're going to go this week. And this is why this class could be infinitely long. I don't know. Genesis 1:1 tells us so much about the origins of the universe, the origins of humanity, the beginning of the story. It's all there, and yet it's so very vague. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. In the beginning, God created everything. Now, if you look closely at Genesis 1, if you look to figure out how God created everything, all you're going to get is that God said, "Let there be," and then there was. When it comes to us, humanity, it says God formed, meaning God, it's implying that God used his hands, if God has hands, and it implies that God took a more personal role in our own creation. But otherwise, God speaks a word. He gives the imperial command because he is king of the universe. He gives the divine fiat and says, "Let there be," and then it just happens. This is called creation ex nihilo, or creation out of nothing. Now, you can see from behind me, I'm a big fan of comic books and science fiction, and I like a lot of that stuff. And in nothing I've ever watched or read with superheroes and sci-fi and all that stuff, never has a superhero or a supervillain or any kind of weird being from another universe or dimension ever claimed to have created out of nothing. There's a lot of reasons for that. One, it makes no sense. It makes no sense to us to create out of nothing. Where do you even begin with that? Okay, what does that mean to create something out of nothing? I've played the game Minecraft before. It's a computer game, and if you don't understand that, ask your kids or grandkids, and they'll explain the game to you. But in Minecraft, you can make pretty much anything you want, but you can't make anything you want out of nothing. To start, if you want to make a sword, great. You need some rocks, or you need some sticks. You have to have something to work with. Oh, you want to build a house? Same thing. You better have some wood or some rocks, or you're not going to be building this house. You can't build something out of nothing. And that's what the Bible claims in the very first chapter. It's not uncommon for purported books of Scripture to make very vast and divine claims, very strange claims about their gods, their heroes, and so on and so forth. But the Bible is kind of different in that it makes this impossible, totally unlike any other religion claim from the very beginning. It says God created everything out of nothing. Now, the other Abrahamic faiths claim certain things, or similar things, but most religions in their creation myths, God creates the world out of something. Something exists with God or before God, and God creates the world out of that. Or there's two gods, and they have a fight, and the one God creates the world out of the God's dead body, or there's two gods, and they don't have a fight, and they give birth to the world. Draw your own conclusions from that, okay? And none of these stories, at least none that I can recall even at this point here, do these deities create the world out of nothing. But yet that's what God claims. That's what the Bible claims. God said, "Let there be," and then the nothingness was. There's not even good words to explain this. That's why it's so important for us to understand that our faith doesn't begin with some grand epic story of a fight before creation, or some sort of poetic scene of creation being born. Our story begins with only God in existence. He's the only being there. He's the only one. He speaks to the nothing, and the nothing becomes. That's some sort of advanced theology, poetry that I can't even begin to unpack for you guys. But I'll go this way. There's a myth or a story that a student once spoke to his teacher. This is like a philosophical story. So, I don't know, ancient Greece, the Far East, I'm not sure where this comes from. But this student speaks to his teacher and says, "Teacher, what holds up the earth?" And the teacher responded, "A turtle." The whole earth is sitting, this is probably flat earth days, the whole earth is sitting, laying on a turtle's back. And the student thinks for a minute and says, and what does that turtle rest upon? And the teacher says, an even larger turtle. And the student pauses for a second. And then asks again, and what does the second turtle rest upon? And the teacher replies, it's turtles all the way down. That's a silly story, okay? And honestly, that may not be some sort of philosophy. It may just be a teacher or a parent who's frustrated with a kid asking too many questions. But we have comfort in that our world, our story, our own creation, our importance, ourselves, does not rest on the back of a turtle, but it rests on the strength and the glory, the majesty of the only God who creates out of nothing. He has made it all by the sheer force of his own will and by speaking the words, and then nothing responded. That is incredible, and yet that is exactly what our Bible claims. That's what we begin our faith on, the very belief that God is so powerful. He's the only thing that was. He's the only thing that existed until he decided to create something that wasn't him. He is the uncaused cause of everything. Cause and effect is like a cornerstone of our logical way of thinking. This causes this. This domino hits this domino, and the dominoes fall over, right? That's our thinking process. And here we have an instance where God is this ever-existing, non-created, always there, no beginning, no end cause of all the other causes. So did God use the Big Bang? Maybe. Did God use evolution? Maybe. More on that later. Did God blah, 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 insert whatever we want to there. It doesn't matter what God used or what God did, in the sense that God did it with no resources, no materials, nothing at his disposal other than his own power and his own will. And that's the God we serve, and that's pretty amazing. That's enough for this week. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time for another episode of Genesis.